Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Dr. Nehal Shah, consultant pediatrician at SRCC Children's Hospital, managed by Narayana Healthcare at Haji Ali, Mumbai. Today with me is Dr. Sonu Udani ma'am, who's the medical director and the in charge of ER and critical care services at SRCC Children's Hospital. So today we are going to talk about a very short but very important topic for a common person and mothers who get literally jittery that when should I take my child to the pediatrician, because when they go, as it is, the pediatrician usually says, why did you come, there was no need. And when they don't go, many a times and often they are pretty late when they go for it. So I'll ask ma'am that what are the common things and what are the common signs, symptoms and pointers and the red flags after which they should take their child to the pediatrician. So we'll start with the basic topic of fever, which troubles each and everyone around. So ma'am, what do you feel that when should a child be taken to pediatrician when mother finds the child to be warm?
So one very important thing that we find that mothers do not do when they feel a child is warm is take the temperature.
True.
Now with the very easy non-mercury thermometers, it's very easy to take temperature. You get very fancy thermometers also that are non-touch. You just have to zap them on the child and you can get a temperature. So we really should encourage mothers to take the temperature. The other very important thing is the age of the child. If a small baby, a newborn, within the first 30 to 45 days gets a fever, I would say don't wait at all. You should contact your pediatrician and discuss with the pediatrician. But beyond about 2-3 months of age, then there are many signs that you may be able to wait. So newborn, definitely don't wait. So when do you wait with a child's fever? If a child has a low grade fever, 100.4, even 101, but the child in between the fever is feeding well, the fever comes down with the normal dose of Crocin or paracetamol, and the child is playful in between fever, looks around, recognizes the mother, even in infancy, you can wait. However, if there are no other signs like cough, cold, and the fever persists for 2 or 3 days, definitely you should see your pediatrician. If there is a cough, cold, fever, other members of the family are also sick, then you might say that this is a viral URI and you could wait. But definitely beyond 2 to 3 days, it's a visit to the pediatrician would definitely be in order. The older child, the one who's running around playful, much easier because you can express many more things with an older child, ask him questions. If the child is playful, eating, drinking, and even expressing that he wants to eat, those are good signs and gives you a little more leeway in the terms of time. Even 3 to 4 days of fever in that age group is perfectly all right. But after that, you really should consult your pediatrician.
And ma'am, as a part of a acute care at home till they meet their pediatrician, what do you think how should they manage the child?
The safest and best way to manage is 2 things. One is proper doses of paracetamol. Paracetamol comes in many brand names and they all have the same ingredients done in the same way. So it's important that we know difference between drops and syrup because often there is a confusion and the dosage can go wrong. So always get that from your pediatrician. How much should I give if there is fever? Underdosing is more common than overdosing. Try to avoid drugs like Meftal and Ibugesic. They are not extremely safe and can be given only if there is very high fever. Meftal itself is really not approved in many countries, but in India we do use it. I don't recommend it very highly. The other thing to do, which is not very comfortable, is sponging down. Do not use cold water. Use normal tap water. Take off all the clothes of the child and sponge down the entire body of the child. Just putting a cloth on the forehead or only on the stomach or the palms and soles is not of any use. You need to sponge down the entire child, let the water dry off naturally and put it again. So tippet sponging and paracetamol are the 2 safest ways to keep the fever down.
So in nutshell, I would just summarize: a young child, an infant, maybe less than a year old or something, fever high grade, immediately notify your pediatrician and visit him as soon as possible. And in an older child, after 3 to 4 days of appropriate symptomatic treatment, if things are not getting better, definitely visit your pediatrician. And the immediate care at home should be a proper dose of paracetamol. If things don't get better, fever doesn't come down in maybe half an hour to 45 minutes, then as ma'am said, you can sponsor the child with a lukewarm or a normal tap water, or maybe give him a little bath or something. So second most common and important symptoms which we come across very often is vomiting. So ma'am, how would you approach the vomiting in a child?
Again, vomiting to the parent can be a very alarming symptom. And vomiting also can be a very innocuous, normal thing in children. There are some children who vomit for many reasons, and some children who vomit only when there is a serious problem. Let's come to the children who vomit for very minor problems that they may have. Very common is the spitting up of the newborn. The spitting up of the newborn is because the stomach sphincters are very lax. The muscles are not very developed, and so when the milk goes down and then the child tries to burp the milk out because the air has been swallowed, a little bit of milk comes up with the air. When these children vomit, sometimes they vomit 8-10 times a day. But here, if the milk has curdled, if it is a small amount, and if the child is gaining weight and otherwise all right between feeds, we should not worry about this. Nowadays, everyone wants to give medicines to their children for every small symptom. We should not try to give medicines for every bit of vomiting that every child has, because a lot of this vomiting can be normal. However, if this vomiting is very persistent, large in quantity, and the child is not gaining weight, then we might want to give what we call anti-reflux medicine to these small babies who vomit out all their feeds. This medicine will prevent the stomach from throwing up the food and help the food to go down. And your doctor will prescribe these medicines. Do not try to give these medicines on your own. The older child who vomits between, like, say 2 and 4 weeks of age, always remember that any vomit that is yellow or green in color requires immediate attention. Any vomit that is persistent and with every feed and large in quantity needs to be assessed. And sometimes in older children, after the newborn period and 4 to 5 months of age, or even beyond that, may have sinister implications. So persistent vomiting that just does not resolve with any other medication, or vomiting accompanied by severe somnolence or headache or any other issue, should be brought to the attention of the pediatrician. Sometimes there is something called cyclical vomiting. This occurs in older children after 5 years of age and is often accompanied with abdominal pain. These children tend to vomit at regular intervals. Every 4 or 5 months they complain of abdominal pain, and then they have 4 or 5 days of vomiting. This occurs in about 1 in 400 children, and often this is because of stress. This is because of something going on in school or at home, or even some unknown trigger factors that may have occurred, and even sometimes with Chinese food. Ajinomoto, what we call, can trigger off these headache-induced or cyclical vomiting-induced episodes. So vomiting can have many manifestations. Some may be, most are innocuous, but some may be serious. So if your child has a problem with persistent or intermittent vomiting, one visit to the pediatrician with symptoms that are very clear. Explain to your pediatrician exactly what is happening and why you think it may be happening, may be in order. So we rule out and get reassured that the vomiting is actually not of a serious nature.
Ma'am, again, what would be the immediate care that we would provide till they visit their pediatrician?
So even if your child is vomiting, the tendency is not to feed the child, but do give some liquids. Do not give very sour liquids. Do not give very hot liquids. So cool, very neutral liquids like kanji, or even mildly sweetened liquids are appropriate. Give in small quantities and let the child, if it's a small child, let the child be spoon fed. If it's an older child, let the child take sips of water which may be just sweetened. Don't over sweeten and don't put too much limbu or fruit juices in, because those can aggravate the stomach and cause more acidity. And because whatever comes out, at least some amount of liquid will be absorbed and you will prevent dehydration. So in any kind of vomiting or diarrhea, prevention of dehydration is very important. And if the vomiting is accompanied by headache, like in migraine, then keeping the liquids going and actually increasing liquid intake is very, very important. So keep some intake going till you reach your pediatrician or reach a hospital if the vomiting is very severe.
Just to summarize the thing, any vomiting, younger age, yellowish, greenish, persistent with associated symptoms like headache, not resolving with the routine things, definitely a pediatrician visit is a must. Until then, you make sure the child's hydration status is maintained. Whatever the child is losing in vomiting, try and replace it by the things as ma'am said, and small frequent feeds, preferably liquids, and make sure the child passes adequate urine.
One issue we can take up over here is it safe to give medication for vomiting at home? Once a pediatrician prescribes a medicine to be given to a child for a particular symptom, it's very common for parents to keep these medications at home, and anytime that symptom recurs, to give the medicine. I would not say that it's completely inappropriate. Maybe you can try that medication once or twice, but then do not persist in giving these medications for days on end. For example, for vomiting, your pediatrician may often prescribe a medication called Emset or Ondem. Yes, you may give this in the prescribed dose earlier for 1 or 2 episodes, but do not persist in giving this for 2 or 3 days, because it might have worked the first time. The second time may be a different reason and you might actually miss the boat. So don't persist, that's all I would say.
So self-medication for longer time without supervision or guidance would not be advised. So the other symptom that very frequently we all come across is loose motions. So I would just ask Dr. Udani ma'am to elaborate that when are motions loose, when are altered, and when does it need the pediatrician's guidance for it?
Loose motions, or what we call diarrhea, is any change in the bowel habit of a child. So if your child has been passing one stool every day or one stool every 2 days, and suddenly you see that there are 3 stools, but those stools may be formed, they may be semi-solid, that would be a change and you would consider that maybe a harbinger of diarrhea. However, the most common form of diarrhea is acute watery diarrhea. And most common acute watery diarrhea is because of viral infections, not because of bacterial infections. Again, acute watery diarrhea, 4 or 5 loose stools with a lot of water, very little stool matter in the stools, being viral in nature, does not require antibiotics. Every parent will ask their pediatrician, what about an antibiotic? Or very often an antibiotic has already been started by somebody before the child even goes to the pediatrician. I would stress that please do not give antibiotics for acute watery diarrhea for 2 reasons. One is, of course, because of viruses, and antibiotics do not act against viruses. But much more important than that, our intestines have normal, good bacteria that actually help us in fighting infection. When we take antibiotics, we change these good bacteria into bad, resistant bacteria. And we do not want to do that unnecessarily by taking antibiotics that are anyway of no use to us. So why take antibiotics then when they are of no use? Then what happens is we take antibiotics for 3 to 4 days. The acute watery diarrhea is anyway self-limiting and we think to ourselves that the antibiotic has acted. And we, again, the next time this occurs, feel, oh, last time the antibiotic is acted, I'm going to give the same antibiotic again. So please do not self-medicate and give your child antibiotics. So acute watery diarrhea is common with viruses. You can get a high fever in them, and the only treatment for that is hydration. There are many ways to hydrate your child. The best way is to give the proprietary formulae that we get, the rehydration packets that are there. These are made in such a way that if you dilute them properly according to the instructions on the packet, you will not run into problems. You have to dilute them according to the instructions and feed the child according to that. So do not use wrong dilutions, do not under dilute or over dilute, otherwise you're losing the efficacy of that. These packets are made in such a way that the electrolyte balance of your child will be well maintained if you use it properly. If you feel the child is not accepting these because the taste is a little funny, you may then use home remedies like water, add a teaspoon of salt and a teaspoon of sugar and dilute it in 1 liter of water and spoon that in. But again, home remedies with sugar salt solutions, we can run terribly wrong with the salt and land up giving too much salt or too little salt. So using these packets is the way to go. If you find that in spite of giving home remedies and giving water to the child is still losing a lot of fluid, if you find the soft part of your child's head is going in, dipping down in an infant, that means the child is dehydrated. If the child is passing less urine, if the skin of the child looks very dry, if the tongue of the child looks very dry, if there are no tears coming out when the child cries, then please do not wait. This child is dehydrated and needs to go to the emergency room. Our emergency room is open 24/7, or this child needs to be taken to your pediatrician immediately. Acute watery diarrhea is self-limiting. 4 to 5 days maximum it will go away. What else can you give? You can give patli khichdi, you can give you can give bread, toast to an older child, you can give any kind of neutral foods. You do not have to starve the child in diarrhea. You can avoid milk to a certain extent, but breastfeeding should not be stopped. You should continue breastfeeding. If the diarrhea continues for more than 2 to 3 days, you can certainly take the advice of your doctor. So if you see blood and mucus in the stool, these would be bacterial or amoebic diarrheas. For this, again, do not self-medicate. Go to your pediatrician. He will give you the correct medicine to give you to your child for the correct duration. So that would be important.
Ma'am, what would be the role of zinc and probiotics in such scenarios?
Yes. So in these acute watery diarrhea, especially in infants, we do give zinc. So zinc has been used to actually reduce the number of days of acute watery diarrhea, especially in infants. It doesn't cure the diarrhea. But if you're going to have a diarrhea for 5-7 days, maybe your diarrhea will stop in 4 days or so. The zinc actually helps in recovery of the intestinal tract, and this is important in infants. Otherwise, they'll end up with lactose intolerance and other complications of that acute watery diarrhea. Many of these zinc preparations are linked with the probiotics. So often when we prescribe zinc, we prescribe a probiotic at the same time. The role of probiotics is very unclear. The usual ones we prescribe are pretty harmless. So I again would say that probably no harm, no proven efficacy either. So maybe rather than give probiotics and all, we could just use things like yogurt or lassi or chash to a child, and that would be equally helpful in giving more natural probiotics to a child rather than going on buying medicines and giving medicines to kids.
So zinc has a definite role in management of acute diarrhea. Addition of probiotics may or may not be helpful, but we can definitely have a home remedies like dahi, yogurt, chash, lassi, etc., which are a form of probiotic which can be used at home itself. But most important, as ma'am said, is hydration of the child, which has to be maintained at any cost. And after 2 to 3 days of diarrhea, if things are not getting better, definitely visit your pediatrician or a nearby ER. And our ER over here is open 24/7. In the description below, there will be the contact numbers for it, and we'll be happy to help you whenever anyone comes there.
One small thing I would like to add as a reassurance to mothers is that all these symptoms, fever, vomiting, diarrhea, they occur throughout the 24 hours of the day. However, something that's been happening all day long always seems to look more serious in the night. Because, everything's quiet in the night and everyone wants to sleep, and then the child has a fever or throws up once in the night, and the entire symptom gets actually magnified in the eyes of the family, which may not really be the case, because illness is occurring throughout the 24 hours. So don't get scared just because a symptom is occurring in the night. It's actually occurring throughout the 24 hours. However, as Dr. Shah just told you, our ER is open 24/7. So feel free, if you're anxious and afraid, to drop in anytime and we will be there to help you.